I don't know anything about baseball. I'll toss that right out there at the beginning of the video, but even though my knowledge of this ball and bat sport is that of a walnut, I do know that Shohei Ohtani is one of the best players of all time. And I do have a few friends that are very into baseball, and they've told me, hey, like, he's one of the best two-way players of all time. It's like if you tried to give an analogy for hockey, think of it like being a top scorer and a top goalie molded into one. Like, there's a lot of value here with this player, and he needs a contract. That's my extent of the entire situation on Shohei Ohtani. So if anybody wants to add any extra layers, hey, the comment section is your floor. But because this is primarily a hockey channel, what I wanted to do was talk about how the Shohei Ohtani signing, I mean, look, there are rumors he's going to Toronto. Everybody's talking about it. It's the first thing popping up here. Toronto Sun, Blue Jays pitch, Dodgers Nation. Oh, he's going to sign with the Blue Jays over the Dodgers. I don't know if this is going to happen. If it doesn't happen, then please don't crucify me. But if Shohei Ohtani signs with the Toronto Blue Jays of all teams in Canada, we actually have ourselves some really interesting developments as to how this could change the NHL. Take a look at this article published by Steve Simmons yesterday. It talks about how Rogers, yeah, the big company that provides a lot of us with telephone service, they're dropping their NHL rights to make the Ohtani deal possible for the Blue Jays. Now, I don't know if this is going to happen fully in the way that Simmons goes out there and writes about, but this article goes over some crazy ideas, and when it comes to the Ohtani situation, I mean, you could see it as the top two articles here on The Sun. Blue Jays pitch, the Shohei Ohtani decision is imminent, Blue Jays are the finalists. If he doesn't end up signing with Toronto, then okay, like, yeah, this entire video is gone down the drain. But essentially, if I were to summarize this entire article in 2 sentences, I'll say it like this. Rogers may be holding back money from their NHL rights in order to use it to sign Ohtani, and they want to put the Blue Jays in a main TV position. Rogers, of course, owns Sportsnet, and that seems to be what their priority would be should they get this generational player onto their team. The wildly expensive pursuit of Shohei Ohtani is corporately planned by Rogers to coincide with the end of its 12-year money hemorrhaging deal with the NHL. Here's what Simmons goes out there and writes. One negotiation may not be happening necessarily without the other expiring. Veterans in the television business industry tell the Toronto Sun. Rogers is seeking to turn itself from the hockey network, which has been an enormous drain in the company's economics, into a Blue Jays-first network that would include a team challenging for the World Series, centered around the brilliance of Shohei Ohtani, with Rogers Sportsnet the network reducing costs and increasing revenue all the same time. The $5.2 billion NHL deal, which will cost Rogers in the $50 million a year range for the next 2 hockey seasons, a deal that escalated hugely over its final years, will expire at the end of 2026. And the Ohtani contract, if signed here, would be in the $500 to $600 million range US. That's million dollar range US dollars, people. That's a lot of gosh darn money over what's likely to be a 10-year period. In other words, Rogers, the company that owns the Toronto Blue Jays, would be paying Ohtani at most but not much more than $60 million a year, depending on the bonus structure, while no longer paying the NHL some $500 million a year to be exclusively the rights holder within Canada. Imagine having an athlete so gosh darn expensive that he goes out there and disrupts your plans to distribute and be the #1 rights holder of an entire other sports league. Shohei Ohtani, if he comes over to Toronto and if Rogers decides to do this entire plan of building their television networks around the Blue Jays and Ohtani, they would literally be cutting down on their own funding for the NHL because it's so expensive and because they feel there's a better opportunity to make money by focusing on that Blue Jays team and this one guy. I'm not dissing Shohei Ohtani or whatever. I'm just saying it's kind of wild that this is the thing here. Now, what exactly does this mean for the distribution of NHL footage in Canada? Well, it goes over and says this. Under this plan, Sportsnet would retain its regional NHL rights, which it has long-term deals on. It would continue to cover half of the Maple Leafs broadcasts and all those regional games, including the Oilers, Canucks, and Flames. Whether Rogers enters any future bidding on NHL national rights, it is a matter still to be determined, but what's become clear is that they will not go in with large over-the-top offers like the way they shocked the hockey world 10 years ago. What this means is that we would be getting rights to distribute NHL games nationally from other companies like TSN, like the folks over at Bell. We'll have ourselves different opportunities to see different broadcasters. It's not going to be the same crew every single time, and I like that. No disrespect to the Sportsnet crew. It would just be nice to get a few new faces on my television screen once in a while. Like, everybody's been talking about, oh, Sportsnet TSN, two of the main hockey competitors duking out. Sure, there are some regional games that are distributed by some, and then there are national games distributed by others. The article even goes down at the bottom here, like what happens with the Blue Jays, Shohei Ohtani, how this would change the NHL, etc., etc. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and read more of this article, but what I will do is read the end here. Just what happens to the NHL rights in Canada is a matter of conjecture now. The large corporate structures, Rogers owning Sportsnet, Bell owning TSN, both as awkward partners as majority owners of the Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, have not shown what the future brings next. TSN was absolutely stunned when it lost out on the national package of NHL games 10 years ago. What the network and the company has learned since then is that it's done better economically without the rights than it would have done with them, and Rogers so overpaid that if you could get out of the deal today, it would be running to do so. You can't make a deal as large as the Ohtani pursued without corporate ownership, and ownership is aboard, while regularly silent on Blue Jays matters, and is waving hello to Ohtani while at the same time waving goodbye to the NHL. So, what this essentially means is that, firstly, these companies have more to gain from only really doing a bunch of regional games and holding back on how much coverage they have of NHL footage, rather than throwing the balls to the wall and saying, okay, we're going to do every single national game out there. Every game for the next 10 years, we are going to be the only company in Canada that's able to provide that service so that people can watch on their home TV screens. Like, the fact is, the NHL has been a really interesting product under Sportsnet and only Sportsnet, but if you've got two competitions, if you've got two competitors dueling it out to provide the best show, it makes it better for all of us. Plus, getting variety in there, who doesn't like variety? So, I don't know anything about baseball. I'll say that again at the end of the video, but Shohei Ohtani is a pretty gosh darn good baseball player, and if the Toronto Maple Leafs are the team that ends up signing him, or not Maple Leafs, excuse me, Blue Jays, if I refresh the page here, is there anything here? I mean, everybody's talking about it on Twitter. It's a pretty big deal, isn't it? But yeah, if Shohei Ohtani ends up signing with the Toronto Blue Jays, the company in charge of the Jays, Rogers, will literally decide to hold back on their NHL distribution rights as a result. And that changes the game for everybody. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Shohei Ohtani. This article will be linked in the description if you want to go ahead and read this. I don't know anything about baseball, so please don't crucify me if he doesn't sign with the Blue Jays and signs with like the Dodgers or something. Please. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Shohei Ohtani and how this actually could impact the NHL in a huge way. Article's going to be linked in the description. I hope you enjoyed this. And bye.